So we will solve. Let me invite Rija as well. Fine. So Rija, if better you can hear me. We are solving November 2021 paper 2-1. So I'm not solving the initial parts. I'm just solving those parts where you have pseudocode and an algorithm. So I'll read again. An algorithm to sort 1D array into descending order is described as follows. Move the largest value to the end, keep repeating until the array is sorted. Apply the process of stepwise refinement to this algorithm. In order to produce a more detailed description, write a more detailed description using English. Your explanation of the algorithm should not include pseudocode statements. Okay, so this is 6 marks question C. Okay, so let's see how can we do it. 2A. So what we'll do is, right. Question 2A. I'll just write it down as well so that. So the way we can do is, you can also help me out. You can do along with me. And let's see how can we do it. Maybe you can take a piece of paper and you can first do it along, and probably you can suggest me what can be done. So let me just arrange it in such a way as if, okay, here we go. Okay. Right. A bit more, just one step more. Okay, right. So what we can do over here is, first of all, obviously we have to use, obviously over here is a variable, which is an array. Okay, so we will basically define an array variable. Okay, obviously, right? Right. And then what we'll do is, we have to obviously move. So an algorithm 1D array is in descending order, move the largest value to the end, keep on repeating until it's sorted. So obviously for this, what we have to do is, we have to loop through the array. Okay, loop through the array. We have to use a loop for that. Then what probably we have to do is, so we have to use, obviously over here is, we will be using an inner loop. Okay, for basically to compare, right? And then what we will do is, okay, use if statement to swap elements. Okay, obviously, which means upon a condition. Okay, obviously your language could differ a bit from mine. There's no difference in that. And obviously, right, so until the condition is met. Okay, now condition basically means, obviously it means is the length of the array. Yes or no? Is this probably what you were thinking of? This is the way we can probably do it. Any thing you might want to add or ask related to this, Mariba, Rija? Yes or no? We did linear searching, and we did discuss over here was no, sir, right? Okay, then let's continue. So okay, now this over here is the program flowchart shown describes a simple algorithm. Start, set count to 1, set flag to false. If flag is equals to false and count is less than 5, then if it's no, is flag false? If it's no, then you end. And if this is true, you call a method reboot. Okay, set the count to increment, set flag to check. Okay, so it will basically check again. And in this case, if it's false, say yes and alt. Now, I'll just put this back over here and I'll explain you side by side how can we do it. Let me just, sorry, I understand. Okay, right. Kirat and Muriba, you as well, please, beta. Do it along with me. So how can we do it? Let's do it step by step. So what is, write a pseudocode for the simple algorithm. Okay, so this is 6 marks. Okay, right. So we have to write a simple algorithm for this. Okay, so let's plan it out. How can we do it? This is your B part. And the way we can do this is obviously, first we have to obviously, we will, this part, okay. So we will, for this particular part, we will say is count, in this case, will be set to 1, right? So count will be 1. And then this part for this, we will assign is the flag. Flag again has to be set to, in this case, is false, right? And then what we'll do is we have to look at this, which is basically condition. So we can use a loop. So probably we can use is for loop, while loop. No, this is a while loop. We can't use do while, because do while will be your precondition loop. So in this particular case, we have to use is while loop because it's a it's a precondition loop, not a post-condition loop. So the condition is coming first. So the condition is coming first. Preferably, we have to use is while. And we will say is while, pretty simple, while the flag is equals to, as you can see over here, is equals to false. And your count that you have is less than or equal to, it says 5 over here. If this particular statement is true, then if this is true, okay, if this statement is true, then we will say is that you have to call, is this a function which is reboot, as you can see. It's mentioned directly over there, okay? And then obviously what's happening is we have is count, okay? By the way, I'm referring to this, I'm referring to this, I'm referring to this. Why, okay? Count will be count plus 1. Did I do that? No, count will be count plus 1, right? And then we will set flag to check. So we will set flag has to be set to check, right? And fine. Then obviously over here we can simply end the while. We can end the while directly over here. And we are not done with this because then we have is this. So we have to deal with this particular part. We are not done with this part. Okay, we are done with this part, but not with that part. So in order to deal with this particular part, what we have to do is we can use another if statement, and we can say if the flag that we have is equals to false, as you can see over there directly. If it's false, then what we can do is, then we can simply do is, if it's false, is equals to, if it's false, then obviously we can do is, okay, yeah, alert. You can see over here is we have this alert, and alert is a method. So we have to call the alert. So I'll call the alert. And obviously there's a parameter inside alert, which is 27, right? And I believe that's end if. There is nothing else I have to specify over here. So this is the pseudocode that is for B part, this one, okay? And this was 6 marks question. The previous one was 6 marks question as well. So I hope it's clear there. Is there any question regarding these two 12-mark questions of pseudocode? Anyone? Should I continue? Right. If there's no question, I'll continue. Then what we have is we have this question of abstract data type. So your list, your queues, and your stacks are abstract data type. You can probably try this one because I'm sticking to Sudoku today, so we can probably do these afterwards, or you can try this yourself. It's not something very complicated. Okay, right. So this is again, it's a normal, abnormal, and extreme question. Again, yeah, I'm pretty sure you can do it yourself. Okay, just have to apply the parameters over here. These values greater than and less than 10 and 20 here. Okay, so you can try this yourself. What I'm trying to do is okay, log event. Yeah, we can do this. And there's another question over here below this. Yes, this one is a very good question that probably we should be attempting. Okay, so well, let's first attempt this one. Okay, then we can attempt that one, or we can go in the flow. We can do this one first. It's okay. So the following data items will be recorded each time a student successfully logs onto the school network. Okay, right. Student ID, host ID, and time and date. Fine. The student ID is 6 character long. The other two dates items are variable length. A single string will be formed by concatenating the two data items. Okay, fine. A separator need to be inserted between item 2 and item 3. Okay, for example, this will be concatenated with separator, and then you will have the time and the date. So the student ID and the host ID will be concatenated, and then you'll have a separator, and then you'll have the date. That's the way this should be done. Each string represents one log entry. The log entry basically are done in a log file, by the way, and they can also be done in a text file. Log entries are there to save the data in case of even errors. Your softwares they create is a log file. Okay, so a log file is created. Okay, that we will be using that. Okay, a programmer decides to store concatenated strings in 1D array, log array, that contains 2000 elements. Unused array elements will contain an empty string. Use a suitable separator character and give a reason for your reason for that. Yes, what could it be? We could use any character. I mean, we could any characters. We could use a space. Okay, we could use a space as a character. We could use a comma for a character. Okay, and obviously the reason why we can use those characters are because we don't have them over here. Okay, so characters are basically not recorded as part of your data, so we can use them as any separator. The choice of data structure was made during one stage of the program development lifecycle. Identify your stage. The choice of data structure was made during one stage of program. This is the design stage. In the design stage, the data structure is defined. You do the analysis first. After doing the analysis, you define the input, the process, and the output. In the process, you define the database structure in which you tell what the data will be, what the data type will be like. Fine. Now the question is, a function log event will take a student ID as a parameter for each element in the array that student ID parameter. Add the value of the array element to the existing log file, assign an empty string to the array element, count the number of lines, return this count. Okay, write the pseudocode for log events. Okay, we have to do this. Just give me a second. Student ID, host ID, time. Take a student parameter for each. Okay. This is your 5C. Okay, what I will do for this is I need to do something. I will do this in a proper way. So 5C. Let's first write down what can we do for this. So what I can think of is, for this particular step, what we need to do is, I'll first write down how can we solve step by step. Initially, let's say, So we first of all, obviously, we have to obviously define over here is the function, okay, with parameter. Then obviously, once we define the function, obviously we will have to open the file that we have, okay, for each student ID, for each array, or add a value the array. So obviously, first we have to open the file. After we have opened the file, okay, to open the file, basically what I mean by open the file is we will open over here is our log file that we have, okay. We call the log file, in which all the logs files are there, okay, and we can append it because we have to make changes to it, okay. And remember, eventually we have to close the file as well. Last time we discussed it. Just writing it down for my own sake. Then what we'll do is we will have to add values to the array, assign an array. So we have to use a loop here. We'll see that. Okay. So assign an empty string to the array element. Count the number of lines to be added. So we have to do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So actually, can you read the question if you don't have a problem? What they're saying is, the student ID is 6 characters. So what they're saying is, take the student ID as a parameter. We need the student ID for each element in the array that matches the student ID parameter. Add the value of array element to the existing file. Okay. Assign an empty string. So count. So actually, what we have to do is we have to use over here is we have to extract. Okay, the first 6 characters here. We have to access 6 characters. Okay, from that. Okay, and then we can use the if and using if we will simply write to the array. उसके बाद हम क्या कर सकते हैं? उसके बाद obviously we have to increment the count because loop चलता रहेगा साथ साथ, because you have to go every time go to the next one. How do we go to the next one? Okay, and obviously उसके बाद हम वो return count कर देंगे. So let's start constructing it. Okay, how can we do it? So let me first do it. Okay, मैं फिर आपको explain करता हूँ. Let me just keep this with me. Okay, किस तरह करूँ मैं? मुझे question भी ज़हन में रहे. So what we can do is, one second. मैं आपको explain करता हूँ. पहले मैं let me just complete it. So we have to have a function. Any particular name given to it? No. So we can have a function over here. Logged, and we have to define over here is what? Student ID. They're referring to the student ID. We'll have the student ID. Okay, and student ID obviously will be a string, right? And obviously we'll write over here is return integer, right? Then obviously we have to declare 2 things. We will declare over here is did they mention this is the file data. Okay, we have to have the file data. The file data obviously will be string, Then we have to declare index, the count, okay, and both these will be integer, right? And then we can have is the log file, okay. The log file that we create will be equal to, we can say, is the log file. I will just explain all this. Although even if you don't write this log file, कुछ जरूरी नहीं है, we can. So हमने अब करना है sign add the value count and okay. So we have to use count, and obviously it will initialize with 0. We will open file log file for append. Obviously we have to append it. Now we have to use the for loop. Sorry. We have to use a for loop, and the for loop will go from the index of my array till the log array, where I have all these, or log array basically, okay. Index जाएगा मेरा, no, not for log array तक जाएगा. This will go till just one second. That counts 2000 elements. Okay, right. So it will go till 2000 elements. So we'll 1 to 2000. This will be used to go to every element. और अब क्या रह गया? अच्छा, ये तो हो जाएगा. Right. Then what we can do is we can use if left, not this. Six, अगर sixth होगा तो student ID में आ जाए. Then हम कह सकते हैं उसको write file, और write file क्या है, which will be log file and the file data, right? And then obviously count plus 1, log को हम array कर देंगे. Index नहीं, बस ठीक है, तो log array हो जाएगा, जरूरत नहीं है. All we have to do is now we just end it. So we'll have is next index कर देंगे, and we have to close file. Okay, कौन सी थी हमारी log file, right? And then obviously what we have is over here, or read, we always जब count start करते हैं, we always return the count. Okay. Now basically what's happening over here is, you can see over here is कि सबसे पहले हमने क्या किया, हमने function declare किया over here. Okay, function ये किया, उसके parameters define किए, fine. हमने declare किया file data string. So obviously we have to have file, that's important, we have to define that. Okay, file data, जो भी file में data होगा, it's all string, उन्होंने बताया हुआ file में data क्या है. declare index count integer किया मैंने, log file. So log file is मैंने पहले explain किया था, whenever you work with log के questions, so you always have a log file created. Okay, log file create होती है जिसमें सारा आपका डेटा जाता है. ठीक है, इसको लिखो ना लिखो, it's not a compulsion. Okay, मगर ये डिफाइन करना बेहतर होता है कि you define the log file क्या है, because so count 0 से किया, open file log file for append, इसको हमने file को append किया, हमने start किया basically 1 to 2000 as per the question said, इधर उन्होंने mention किया होता. Okay, overhead should go till 2000 और फिर जाके देन राइट फाइल लॉग फाइल पर, सो लॉग फाइल का डेटा फाइल डेटा में राइट कर दे. फिर हमने इंक्रीमेंट किया, नेक्स्ट में आए, दिस कीप्स ऑन गोइंग ऑन, इट कीप्स ऑन राइटिंग इट डाउन. ठीक है, सो अंटिल द काउंट +1 आगे जाता रहता है एंड देन वी क्लोज द फाइल. दिस इज द simplest way to do it, right? Maybe you can write a different one, मगर ये basically यूं ही होगा. Actually मैं अगले वाला wanted to discuss that with you. इससे पहले टाइम ना खत्म हो जाए. ये do it yourself. I'll share this with you. If you have a question, you can ask me. The next question is more interesting. ये वाला. Let me discuss the initial parts with you. A mobile phone has a touch screen. That screen is represented by grid between 800 rows, and so I have 800 rows. This way I have 1280 column this way. ठीक हो गया. A grid is represented by 2D array screen. So 2D, 1D or 2D. 2D हम discuss किए हैं आपको ना. We talked about this. This 2D array, right? By integer. So we have to note down the points as well of 2D array, screen of type, screen, integer. Any array element will be set to 0 unless the user touches. So it's 0. वो 0 है अगर touch ना हो जब तक. We will note down that somewhere as well. Many array elements are set to 1 by a single touch of first run. So obviously they'll set to be 1 if we touch it. The following diagram shows the simplification touch screen. The dark line represents a touch to the screen. All grid elements that are wholly or partially inside the outline will be set to 1. So we are fine. Barbaros ne keh diya, they're all 1. These elements are shaded. The elements shaded in black represent the center point. This is exactly the center point of where I touched. The program is needed to find the coordinates, the row and the column. Okay, of the center point. Okay, a program, specification, we need a program to find the row number and the column number. So 611 basically जिस तरह बताया जा रहा है आपको, ये वो है. Assume that the user may touch on one area at a time, okay, not multiple. The screen rotation does not affect this frame. Okay, so dimensions will remain the same. The programmer has started to define program modules as follow. Set row, call with 3 parameters of type integer, a row, the number of pixels to be skipped, starting from column 1, the number of pixels that should be set to 1, set the required number of pixels to 1. For example, this. So, इसका मतलब क्या है? Set row 3. So, set row 3. 3 ये है. So, this is, as you can see, this is 1, 2, 3. मैं इसको पहले remove कर देता हूँ. Let me explain what this thing is. This is 1, 2, 3. So this is row 3. They're saying ये row 3 आ गई, ये row 3 आ गई. The number of pixels to be skipped starting from column 1, 8. So I have to skip is 1. इधर अगर मैं इधर आता हूँ, I'm sure you know it, मगर मैं still let me discuss with you. ये आपने खुद भी कर लेना था. This is अगर मैं row 3 पे हूँ, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. 8 पे आ गए. The number of pixels that should be set to 1, वो आ गए 5. अब कितने हमने 5 पे सेट करने हैं? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ठीक हो गया. So ये आपका आ गया set row का फंक्शन, ये करेगा. Then you have search in row, takes 2 parameters of the integer, a row number, a start column, and okay, searches the given row from the start column, either left to right or right to left for the first column, and that contains an element set to 1. Returns the column number of the first element in a given row and set to 1, returns -1 if there is no element. Fine, ठीक है. अच्छा, तो let's see what we have to do. Write a pseudocode to implement the module set row. Obviously, ये क्वेश्चन ऐसा ही आता है कि इसका करना पड़ेगा, इसका करना पड़ेगा, इसका करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है, मैं पहला वाला कर देता हूँ. अगले दो you have a look. I'll try to do it. Maybe we have to join again. Okay, we have to join again. ये होगा नहीं ऐसे. बल्कि एक काम करें बेटा, कैन वी ज्वाइन अगेन, क्योंकि फिर दरमियान में खराब होगा तो फिर कैन ऑल ऑफ यू ज्वाइन अगेन, देयर ओनली 4 minutes लेफ्ट, सो लेक्चर खराब हो जाएगा।